So then, how is it being actively anti-Semitic by being a pro-Palestinian or pro-Palestine?
So the pro-Palestine movement has been completely hijacked by the Yazis, and they are promoting their voices.
You're not answering my question. I'm sorry.
You got to let me answer the question, Goon. You can't cut me off.
Yeah, sorry. No,
many in the pro-Pali movement are actively supporting H Group, who until 2017 had it in their doctrine to unalive Jewish people specifically, and then even after they changed it, openly said that the new one is not a substitution for the old one, who actively went and targeted people based on the fact that they are Israeli. You have the pro-Palestine movement, who is going and having massive protests and riots in front of Jewish daycares, in front of synagogues, in front of HCOS memorial museums. Even in my own comment section, you could read the comments, and these people are saying disgustingly anti-Semitic things, praising H-Man from World War II. Palestine, actually, quote unquote Palestine, the Grand Mufti from the time during World War II was a great supporter of Mustache Man. And these people had the opportunity to condemn that, to push the anti-Semites out of their movement, but they did not. They embraced them and they elevated their voices. So that is why I say what I say. Does that answer your question?
Not really at all. Because if I'm pro-Palestinian, which is like, I'm 20 years old, so that has nothing to do with like all of that. So let me ask a question, right? To the question that I have previously. Like,
okay, just
you're giving me a history.
Really quick, Goon, just make it one last point, because I do want to let others speak, and I can't be on much longer. So go on. One last point.
You said that like pro-Palestinians, because of the Palestinian movement, it's been hijacked. Okay, so the Palestinian movement is hijacked or whatever. By what? The H group and terrorists?
It's hijacked by anti-Semites and by T sympathizers and T's themselves.
They're concentrating on pro-Palestinians. The supporters are a majority peaceful protesters. I don't know why we're concentrating on a handful of yobs. It's relentlessly ongoing. This is a genocide now. It's a plausible genocide by the ICJ. It's still being investigated. We know what's happening. We can see the IDF soldiers sniper shooting old women, kids. We're all seeing this, but yet we're dancing around the outskirts, and we're jumping about and hopping about into debate after debate after debate. You want to be looking at exactly how many kids are being killed. It's coming up to 40,000 people at the moment. 40,000 people. What is it that we don't get?
Okay.
That this Zionist government, that a majority of them are they're self-proclaimed terrorists anyway, from the Likud party anyway. We know this. Netanyahu is a terrorist himself. He's a self-confessed terrorist. And the IDF
wait. No. You got it.
Kids and children.
Kato, I'm going to let you finish, but you got to, first of all, keep it to 1 point at a time. Second of all, don't use incorrect statements. Bibi, whether you like him or not, has never referred to himself as a terrorist. So do not say that he is a self-proclaimed one. That is just fake news. Please wrap up the statement, because I said keep it to 1 point at a time. Go on.
Was he not part of the Likud party?
He is part of the Likud party. That is not
that's a terrorist organization.
All right, that's your opinion, but saying he's a self-proclaimed one is a different statement to me.
Oh, wow. All right, shortcomings. Listen, you know what the Israeli government are doing.
You're right, I do. They're winning a war.
A genocide. You might call it a war. So
winning a war.
You're doing exactly Hitler.
No, don't use that language. We don't use that language.
You gotta use TikTok safe language, and you've made many points, so History, do you want to take this one? You can ask one question, and then History, you can go.
You know how you said that there's like 40K H group members, or 35 or 50, whatever. Are you guys trying to reach a number before, like, so the war will be over, or are you guys just want to eliminate
destroy H group so that they never have the capability to do another October 7th, and that they are absolutely decimated in any power that they could possibly have?
Render them operationally ineffective.
Isn't it already like 40K, or you guys not, or what are you guys looking for a number? Are you guys looking
H group still exists? No, we're not looking for a number. H group still exists as the government in Gaza. They still have the capability of doing great harm. They still have a lot of weapons. They're still partnering with bigger T groups, such as bigger H in the north. So they're trying to destroy H group. It has nothing to do with a number.
I have a question. For you guys to like destroy the source, shouldn't you guys see on who's giving them the weapons? For example, Iran. Like, why do you guys just want to pick on innocent civilians? Iran is the one giving them all the weapons. So why do you guys go after the weak, but don't go after like whoever is in charge?
Because H group is H group is actively using the weapons to unalive these people, and H group is not some poor, helpless group that's just being forced to do this by Iran. They want to do this, and many of the Palestinians support them doing this. History, go on.
Yeah, absolutely. It would be great if Israel went after Iran, and by the way, they did. They bombed them in Syria the other day. So don't think that Israel's ignoring Iran. Far from it. It is making sure that Iran is held responsible for its part in all this.
Yes. Now your turn, Smallwood. Oh, let me make you the big screen.
Yeah, so they said this peaceful. Not sure if this is peaceful. I don't think it is. Compared to the other protests that the other side did, not peaceful. So, you are saying basically, why don't they strike at Iran? Well, it was H Group that did this in the first place, without H Group actually doing it. And actually, I'm not sure about this, but I'm pretty clear that Iran was even surprised that H Group did it at this point. I think they did it anyway. I'm not sure. Never mind that. But the main point I'm trying to make is, each group was the one that did it. It wasn't Iran. Iran also helped them, supplied them, etc., etc. Okay, let me finish. If someone unalives you, do you blame the person that
Mayo or Cato, you can answer.
Iran was the one who said, go do October 7th to H group.
You think that H group doesn't want to unalive Israelis and they're being forced to do this? Is that the claim you're making?
Can you confirm where that was said? Can you tell me where
Iran hyped them up. Iran hyped them up. Iran is the type that, like, basically they threw H group under the bus. You know what I'm saying?
No, I don't.
Tell me where you find that Iran is supporting H group. Tell me where.
Supporting is indisputable, but however, that they told them to carry out October the 7th.
Tell me where that's factual information. Tell me where I can find that factual information.
Listen, I'm pro-Pali, but I'm saying that Iran, Ismail Haniyeh is
Well, that's just one person's statement.
You've not even heard what the statement is yet. Let her say what the statement is.
I know who he is. Go on, mate.
I'm saying that Iran gives them all the weapons, but you guys go after the weak Gaza civilians. I'm saying that you guys
Nobody is
Gaza civilians, but you guys don't hold Iran accountable for what they did.
So like history revealed said, Israel did go after Iran, first of all. Second of all, H group is not weak Gaza civilians. Third of all, Israel is not targeting civilians. It's not Israel's fault that H group consistently uses human shields and consistently uses wait a second, and uses civilian infrastructure to hide behind. The people who are targeting innocent, weak civilians is H group, who quite literally went to neighborhoods in Israel to specifically attack people who they knew could not fight back. If you want to blame somebody for going after innocent civilians, blame H group. If you want to blame somebody for innocent civilians being unalive, blame H group, who started this war. And stop interrupting me, Cato. And blames these, or who actively started this war, and then who uses their own people to hide behind.
What are you, an Israeli spokesperson or something? Are you telling me the 30,000?
Are you a Palestine spokesperson?
I'm a Palestinian supporter, yes.
Okay, so we're in Israel. We are Israeli
30,000 innocent civilians have been killed. Are you saying every one of them in front of them were Hamas?
Speaking over everybody.
30,000.
No, which doesn't work, guys. It doesn't work if you don't shut up and you just monologue.
Yeah.
Let other people speak, Cato. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, Mia, it's your turn, and then you could speak, Cato, but you're going to keep it to 1 point this time. All right, go on, Mia.
Yeah, we're not targeting, again, you said everything that I wanted to say. We're not targeting Gazan civilians. It's not our fault that H group embedded themselves within the civilians in Gaza for 17 years and have made Gaza their entire playground. Everything in Gaza belongs to H group. Every single building, every single piece of land, every single hospital, everything in Gaza belongs to H group. And not only that, but they do not wear uniform in combat. They strategically dress like civilians in order to trick the IDF. I don't think you understand fully what it means to be a terrorist. Like it's such a common fighting method for terrorists all over the Middle East. It's not something new. Now, if you have complaints regarding Gazan civilians being unalived, which is heartbreaking, but it's war, turn it to H group, to the people that have completely taken over their lives and taken their opportunity to be free and happy without a single war happening to them. If H group had left us alone forever. If they decided tomorrow we put our weapons down, we would never ever attack Gaza ever in the history of time. Gaza has been blessed. Gaza and the people of Gaza have been blessed with quote unquote the best enemy, again, quote unquote, the best enemy to live right next to. Because this enemy, quote unquote, would never go after them as long as they don't do something first. And every single war we had with them in history, every single operation we had with them in history, they started.
Yeah,
They
I'm sorry,
started.
you've covered a few
No,
points there.
don't
Can I
cut
just
me
say
off.
something?
Don't
Can
cut
I
me
just
off.
say something?
Let me just say something.
Kiddo, stop interrupting. You monologued for a long time. You're gonna let her speak, and then we're gonna let you speak the exact same way. And if one of them tries to interrupt you, I'll yell at them too. But let her speak.
Okay, so like I said, we would never attack them. Stop acting like if Gazans wanted peace and Gazans wanted to build a mini Dubai in Gaza, there wouldn't be peace. They don't want it. Hate group doesn't want it. They are the governing body in Gaza. If you want peace for Gazans, advocate to remove hate group so we can make Gaza a mini Dubai. That's all I had to say.
All right, now you can speak, Kato. Go on.
Brilliant. Can you guys hear me? Yeah. Sorry, I am just getting a bit emotional because it's just this banter is getting beyond belief at the moment. So what's happening in the West Bank, guys, at the moment? If you're telling me that the checkpoints, the occupation, the people trying to go through checkpoints whilst pregnant, the children that are trying to get to school isn't discrimination, persecution of civilians. Is beyond me. If you're trying to tell me that's normalized, that's fine for an Israeli citizen to be on a highway that's pristine, that's immaculate, that's lighted, and the Gazan roads are on rubbles. It's just a two-way citizen. You know that it's a second-class citizenship in Israel at the moment. What the Palestinians go through and the Israelis that are on an occupying they're an occupying force. You know what it's like there. So don't. What's happening in Gaza is it's an open air prison. You've seen the videos. You know what's happening. If you've never been there, I've got friends that have been to Ramallah. I have friends that have just been to Syria. We know what's happening on the ground. You guys are making it sound like the Gazans and the civilians are all kushti. They're living out laws. Israelis supporting them. The civilians are loved, but it's poor civilians that are supporting Hamas, and the Hamas have been elected in, and it's all Hamas's fault. Let me tell you something now. The 30,000 civilians that have been killed, over 30, it's coming up to 35,000 now, of which 15,000 are almost children. You just told me that Hamas are using these as human shields. Are you telling me that every child had a Hamas soldier behind every child and you sniper shot the child? Is that what you're telling me? How many Hamas soldiers?
Well, yeah, let me
No,
respond.
no, everybody stop.
Hang on. Why am I getting interrupted here?
You're monologuing, that's
Kato,
why.
I literally just told them not to interrupt you, so don't start complaining about it.
No,
After that, it's history's turn, then it's
Can
Smallwood, then
you
it's
let me
Howard.
finish, please? Yeah.
So please just finish up, Kato. What
Yeah,
else?
I'll just quickly finish. Yeah, 30,000 civilians. Maya, you started saying that the civilians were being used as human shields. How many Hamas soldiers have you got pictures of being shot at? Or how many Hamas soldiers have you found in the 30,000 civilians that have been killed? How many Hamas soldiers have been
All of
killed?
them.
Yeah.
All of them.
30,000 of those. Now this
No,
is the
not 30,000,
disgusting.
it's 14.
This
It's
is
actually
what's
14.
disgusting. This
No,
is
hold
what's
on, it's
disgusting.
14, and that's the thing, you think everything.
So 30,000 civilians, you just made that up. You just made that up, and you're conveniently not mentioning how many Hamas soldiers, militants have been taken out, because of course it undermines your narrative. And of course, and what's your source for any of the casualties? It's the H group themselves. The H group themselves. So we're not taking that as any reliable source whatsoever. And in terms of this really childish definition of a human shield, as in the Hamas person has to be holding the child to make it a human shield. Grow up. You know perfectly well that's not what a human shield is. It's using civilian buildings like schools, like hospitals, like mosques, and there's tons of evidence of that. You can watch footage of Hamas people with RPGs on their shoulders walking into hospitals. You can see their rocket launchers in scout buildings that are used for kids. You can see the tunnels that they had under the hospitals, the weapons they had in the hospitals. Just recently, the IDF captured a load of weapons and fighters in the Al-Shifa hospital. So it's completely rampant, the human shields. And as Mia mentioned, these are people who deliberately try to blur the distinction between civilians and soldiers and combatants by wearing civilian clothing, by keeping their weapons caches in civilian buildings. So what happens is they drop the weapons. They'll leave a building unarmed and say, "Oh, look, we're civilians. Look, we're wearing civilian clothing. We don't have any guns." But of course, they're not. They're terrorists, and they're quite happy to use women and children in their operations as well. They've got no moral compunction at all, no moral decency in not using those people, and they believe they're doing a good thing. You know, they believe that anyone who loses their life in this war are martyrs. They're martyrs for the cause. They gain glory from God. They believe they're fighting God's war. So yeah, that's sort of whatever version of events you've got in your head. I'm afraid it's completely at odds with reality.
Yeah, and I want to add one thing to what history said. Yeah, so like I said, we've got videos of everything. The fact you think everything is going to be available to you on social media is absolutely ridiculous. The IDF is keeping these records not to show you or not to show anybody else. It's for us. Now, every IDF soldier in Gaza wears a GoPro because hold on. For us, for the people we have to account to eventually, to the countries that we have to account to our allies, to the ICJ, we've got everything. And I personally have videos of the IDF filming these hate group terrorists inside civilian homes with their civilian clothing and massive pew-pew on them.
I support innocent Palestinian people. I never want to see any innocent people hurt. I believe that any innocent, peaceful Palestinian should absolutely.
By the way, I support Jewish lives too, for the person. I am Jewish.
Perfect. So I believe that any innocent Palestinian person who truly wants peace should be able to live a peaceful, good, prosperous life alongside Israelis. The issue is that this is more than just a few loud extremists within the movement. This is the movement itself. If you look at the numbers, over 70% of people in Gaza support each group, and an even higher percentage support what happened on October 7th. And this goes for the West Bank as well, where H group is not even the government there, and still the majority of them support H group. We have people who, like I said earlier in my live, the pro-Palestine group had the opportunity on October 7th, on October 8th, 9th, 10th, all these other dates after this attack to come out and wholeheartedly say H group does not represent us. This is not who we are as a movement, to demand that the hostages be returned, to demand a ceasefire on H group's behalf, because it's H group who keeps turning them down and wants unrealistic requirements for there to be a ceasefire. And they didn't do that. They chose to elevate these voices. They chose to champion these voices. They chose to take to social media and the streets to defend H group. So when you have a movement who is corrupt at its core and whose people, rather than say they do not speak for us, decide to hand them the microphone, that's where the issue comes in. So is every single person in the pro-Palestine movement bad? No, but they're at the very least uneducated if they are going to willingly support a group that willingly supports terrorists.
Gotcha. Well, thank you for letting me come up here. The only other thing I really have to say is I do want those hostages back. I'm Jewish and I obviously do, but I just believe that there has to be some sort of ceasefire where both sides and everyone is benefited. And I'm very disappointed in the Biden administration, especially because I voted for him.
Can I ask you, Talia, do you want Hamas to remain intact then? If you would like a ceasefire, does that mean you accept that they will remain in charge in Gaza?
I unfortunately don't think they're going to be defeated so quickly, and I don't want to see more people hurt.
So you think that, I'm just curious, just to clarify, so you think they should be kept in at the expense of Israel continuing the operation to remove them?
Wait, repeat that again?
So you think they should be kept in for a ceasefire at the expense of Israel continuing the operation to remove them?
I know that like Israel is always, when it's another country defending themselves, it's different than when Israel is because they are looked at a certain point. But I feel like, and I can be wrong, whenever Israel makes a mistake, it causes a lot of anti-Semitism for, this country. And I just get really nervous, like when I heard about the World Kitchen thing, that was heartbreaking. And I'm worried for the Jewish people at the end of the day, even if they might not be the way that you agree with.
Yeah,
Can
I understand.
ask you a question? I'm sorry, History. To that point, right? And that's totally valid. I think that people forget that when things elevate in Israel, tensions elevate there, that there is a huge increase in anti-Semitism all over the world. But Talia, I want you to understand, right? That fear that you're feeling while living in America, which is a first world country and is relatively safe, you're asking Israelis to live that tenfold every day so that the Palestinians who openly support H group can have a ceasefire so that they can live in peace. Because keeping H group in power is a threat to not just Israelis, not just Jewish people, but basically democracy as a whole. So when you say we have to let H group stay in power, you're telling Israelis that they need to feel that fear that you're feeling every day 100 times over, because H group has already openly said that they're planning more October 7th and they're partnering with other T groups in order to make it even worse, and that they want to take more lives. So why should Israelis have to live with that fear every day tenfold? Why should they have to live with their loved ones being unalived and taken hostage just so you can be a little bit more comfortable?
I understand, and you make points. First of all, I want the hostages back. I've actually totally got sidetracked with what I was going to say. But in terms of that, I feel like with Israel, I understand, and I totally understand that. But is it okay to say that I disagree with the way they're defending themselves?
Yeah, I mean, it's okay to say whatever you want to say. The issue is you have to understand, right? This is guerrilla warfare against a huge internationally recognized T group that is backed by some of the most evil countries, such as Iran in the world. So war is a terrible thing and should be avoided at all costs. But when it can't be avoided, you better fight to win.
Yeah, I'd also like to add to that I've absolutely no problem with people criticizing the way that Israel conducts itself militarily, or the US or Britain, as long as they provide a suitable alternative. Not just say, well, because anyone could just say, well, this is wrong, you should be doing something different. But until you say what they should be doing different and it's actually practical, then it's just a pointless statement.
And I want to add too, wanting a ceasefire sounds great. It sounds beautiful, but it's completely unachievable because we are debating with terrorists. There is no negotiating with terrorists. They will never ever accept the the subsections of each ceasefire.
And I think that's terrible, honestly.
Yeah, hold on one second. The Hamas just rejected another ceasefire a couple of hours ago that was suggested by Egypt. And on top of that, there was another ceasefire that they rejected when Israel offered to cease fire for a few weeks, and they only if Hamas gives us the names of the remaining hostages, and they could not provide us a list with names. Why? Because could not, regardless. They didn't provide us a list with names because a lot of the hostages are either with civilians, a lot of them are with Islamic Jihad, a lot of them are with Hamas. They don't know who's alive. They don't know where they're at. And the fact that the civilians that are holding hostages are still not releasing them tells you a lot about the mentality. Now, it doesn't matter what are the subsections of each ceasefire offer, because they want IDF completely out of Gaza without this war going any further and them staying in power. And we will not allow them to stay in power, and we want all our hostages back. So no matter what the subsections are, the ceasefire agreement will never be accepted. And that's what happens.
I think it's really unfortunate that we can't come to terms with it.
That's what happens when you negotiate with terrorists and then hold Israel to this big standard of, why are you not being the big guy and, giving them a ceasefire even though your people are still held in there? I think it's a massive double standard.
Guys,